Hello and welcome to We Are the Ville, the Westerville City Schools podcast. I'm your host, Melanie Amato. This podcast is designed to take you behind the scenes to showcase how our schools operate and highlight our amazing programs and students. This is episode 15. It's summer, and while that means sleeping in, vacations, pool parties, and enjoying the warm weather, for our district operations team, summer is one of the busiest times of the year. Across the district, maintenance, operations, technology, and facility teams are hard at work completing dozens of projects designed to make our schools safer, more efficient, and better equipped for teaching and learning. From HVAC upgrades and technology improvements to roof repairs, paving projects, and safety enhancements, these investments help ensure our students and staff return to school that are ready for another successful year. Joining me today to talk about these projects is Chief Operations Officer Kari and Facilities Director Doug Swartz. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, summer may seem quiet to the public, but what does summer actually look like to our facilities and operations team?
Summer is our busiest time. There is nothing quiet about summers in a school district, believe it or not. For the operations side of the house, that means that we are cleaning and resetting and preparing for school year all of our buildings, like you mentioned. That includes over 2 million square feet of building. As you can imagine, that's a lot of desks to clean, chairs to clean, floors to wax and reset. We have over 400 acres of property, and as all of our summer sports and everything else, our fall sports start to get underway over the summer, all of our buildings and grounds teams are very, very busy maintaining those properties and will until the snow falls. So summers are less than quiet. On top of that, our operations team is really busy preparing for the new school year. So food service is planning the menus, selecting the items that have to be ordered, writing order guides for their team. Our IT team, they are ordering Chromebooks and doing the refresh and replacements, and they're loading software for our high school students who might be part of any of our Project Lead the Way courses. All of that work happens and is planned and is very intentional for updating over the summer. And then we obviously have all of the facility projects, which I'll let Doug talk about more, but it's busy. This is our busy, busy, busy time.
Yeah, and how many approximately projects are we that are taking place across the district this summer?
Great question. So we have an excess of 60 capital projects. Again, those run the gamut from roofing to paving to plumbing upgrades, purchasing and replacing old furniture, as Ms. Kari said, cleaning and some of that stuff, materials for refinishing gym floors. It runs the gamut. We pretty much touch every building and every program in some way throughout the summer.
And just a quick question, though. Why the summer and why not during the school year? I know, because paving or roof repair, can any of that be done during the year?
Good question. So some of the work is temperature sensitive, like paving. It has to happen in warmer weather, roofing, but also it's disruptive potentially to the day-to-day function of the school. So we do projects all year, whether it's through maintenance, both planned and unplanned. The infamous, my toilet is stuck, my door doesn't work. Something broke. We do those all year, but we also do minor repairs and replacements throughout the year. But the heavy lifting that would affect school or the operations thereof, we try to take care of in the summer.
Yeah, and so many of these projects that you've talked about aren't always visible to the public, but they play a huge role in keeping our schools running safely and efficiently. How do you determine which facilities projects need to happen this summer?
Good question. So it's really driven by two things. First, we've got a master plan, a maintenance plan, if you will, and we have logs and lists of everything we own, whether it's roofing, HVAC equipment, parking lots, etc. And just like your own home, I bought a home 18 years ago. I know my roof is expected to last about 20 years. Now, have I banked the money for it? Maybe not, but that's something that's coming. And so that's what the district is constantly analyzing. Where are we with each piece of equipment? And it's important to note for the public, we typically more than outpace the expected life expectancy. And that's because we're doing that preventive maintenance and repair I talked about earlier. We're really trying to extend the life and the value of the assets that the community is invested in.
Yeah, and some projects focus on long-term planning, while others address immediate needs. For example, unfortunately, we just lost a giant tree at Emerson. And so that had to be taken care of immediately. And so to get everybody on board and so forth on that, how do we balance both of those long-term and immediate needs?
So to some degree, that's divided within the facilities department. Myself and a few other folks are in charge of construction, if you will. And then part of my team, I have a gentleman named Bob Lettieri who's in charge of maintenance. So he has budget line items and resources, both internal. He has approximately 22 technicians on his staff, electricians, plumbers. Kari mentioned landscape. They're also our snowplow team. Shout out to them. And others that do kind of the smaller projects, the emergencies or small projects. And then Bob has a whole listing of vendors that are typically under PO already contracted with, or for emergencies just like this that are bigger than we can handle and need to be addressed immediately. And so, yeah, that's that side. The other side is, like I said, more planned out, maybe 2 years worth of design and planning before it actually comes to fruition.
And now we record our podcast here at South, and even walking in, there is custodians that are cleaning rooms, and there's all this stuff happening, the waxing of the floors, etc. Can you share examples of the repairs or upgrades that may not be visible to families, but still are critical to the school operations?
So some of the larger projects we're working on that would be invisible unless you happen to go by the job sites, roofing repairs and restoration. Again, our roofs are not monolithic. It's not one large roof. So we replace portions as they age out, if you will. So we're doing portions of Central High School. We're doing portions of North High School. We're doing paving. That's probably something folks would see. We're doing plumbing. They may or may not see that unless they noticed a new toilet. Things like that. So a lot of it's behind walls, it's above ceilings, it's out of sight, out of mind, because it's mechanical, electric, things like that are necessary, but not necessarily visible.
I'd also share too, within our IT team, in 2019, they identified a long-term plan for technology upgrades to the teaching wall within the classrooms. We've been able to do a lot of that replacement work through projects. So we had the facility master plan projects that I think the community is well aware of.
Yeah.
We were able to do the teaching wall upgrades at that time there. We've done all of our secondary buildings that didn't have major renovation work going on. And now Tim Stifler, who's our director of technology for the district, he is completing the remaining elementary schools. So we will have a common standard teaching wall across our district.
That's great.
And that'll be ready to welcome our kids back at the beginning of the school year. So lots of things that have to happen when people aren't in the buildings. And you don't always even notice it because it's just there when you get back.
Yeah. And we use every day of the summer to get ready, right? I mean, it's not like we're taking the month of July off and then restarting in August. It's every moment that we can, we're making sure that we're ready to go by the start of school.
Absolutely. I think all of our teams, again, from buildings and grounds to our custodial teams, the construction companies that bid and get awarded jobs for us, like they all know the cutoff timeline is when we start to welcome kids back. It's not unusual for our parents and our students to see some of these people still in doing work at scheduled pickup nights or meet the teacher nights. It's not unusual because we are literally up until that last minute getting it all done.
Yeah, and speaking of the master plans and facility upgrades, another important part of this work is just making sure that our taxpayer dollars are used responsibly and strategically. Why is it important to have dedicated funding for facility and capital improvements?
I think it's important just so we can plan. Again, it is a finite, not infinite dollar. It's known on an annual basis or projected out because it's predominantly funded through what's called the Permanent Improvement Fund. So that is, as the words would imply, a permanent tax levied against homeowners, if you will, property owners. So we know how much we're taking in. I'm going to let Kari may talk a little bit more the multiple uses, but one of the primary uses is our facilities upgrades and restoration. And so as Kari mentioned earlier, we start right after the date Memorial Day, typically, depending on the school calendar. But we may be planning for 1-2 years, pre-purchasing things, because that 10 weeks actually could have been a year worth of effort and purchasing. So the money's critical, just so we know what we have, so we can align it with the needs, and the critical needs is what we address.
Yeah, I think our goal is always warm, safe, and dry. for our kids because they need to be warm, safe, and dry before we can even attempt to educate them, correct? So when you look about how we prioritize and maintain our fiscal responsibility, we look at those pieces. So for Doug and his team, it is that HVAC, it is roofing, it is paving. And then for our transportation team, it's the replacement of our buses and our My Vans. And that permanent improvement dollars also support the replacement cycle of those vehicles. So we keep a bus for 15 years. That team looks to rotate those buses so that we try to keep an equal equivalent mileage on each of the buses. So like as we get to that 15-year mark, we're able to trade them in at a value that helps us maximize those available dollars to us as well. On top of that, the Permanent Improvement Fund also supports the technology replacement. As you can imagine, technology has become a vital part of our experience for our kids, what they learn how to do while they're here, how our teachers function in the space, our professionals in general. And as that grew at such a rapid pace, we needed to make sure that we carve out some of those permanent improvement funds annually for that as well.
Yeah. And so last question here, what message would you like the community to know about the work happening this summer? Doug?
I think it's important to know that it's planned, it's prescriptive, and it's really kid focused. Our goal in facilities is to support the education component of the district. And as Kari said, warm, safe, and dry is kind of our mantra. And so that's why we're doing roofs. That's why we're doing parking lots. That's why we're doing some of that infrastructure upgrades and improvements. But also because those are some of the largest physical, not human capital, physical capital items and systems we have in the district. They're the most expensive. They're the most important. And if they break down, they're the most catastrophic to our day-to-day operations.
Yeah. Kari?
I think for me, just adding on to what he shared, because again, the students are our priority. They are the reason why we make the decisions we make, putting them first and that experience first. But it's also to know that the people who are doing the work this summer are really proud of the work that they're doing, and they're doing it for the community. It is hard work. It is long hours, not always necessarily the bright and shiny kind of pieces that people get to see. So very, very thankful to our custodians, our buildings teams, facilities, maintenance, buildings and grounds, the transportation team that are planning all the routes for the next year, and the mechanics who are doing all the work on those buses and vans, getting them ready. I think for me, that's it. It's just a big thank you to everybody who's working so hard this summer to get ready for next year.
Yeah, and again, shout out to all of the people working around the clock and, really helping us through. Those are the superstars and the heroes that we have during the summer while we don't have any classroom instruction. So again, I appreciate you both for joining us today. Like I said, summer break may mean a pause, but it certainly doesn't mean a pause in the work happening across Westerville City Schools. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you to everyone for listening. We are going to take a break in July, but we will be back with new episodes in August. Until then, remember, we are the Ville.